Welcome back, coin lovers and treasure hunters. United States. Today we're diving into the top 4 most fascinating and valuable 5-cent coins of the United States of America, featuring the legendary Liberty wartime Jefferson nickels and the iconic Buffalo 5-cent coins that changed American numismatic history forever. From World War II silver nickels to rare Buffalo nickel varieties, mint marks, hidden errors, and collector secrets, these coins are more than pocket change. They are symbols of power, history, and potential fortune. If you're searching for rare U.S. coins, valuable nickels, wartime silver nickels, or Buffalo nickel values, you're in exactly the right place. Stay tuned, don't blink, and welcome to the top 4 journey where history meets hidden value. Fire money bag. The 1943 Liberty Jefferson 5-cent coin was born in a moment when the world itself was at war, when metal was no longer just metal but a weapon, a resource, a necessity. This coin did not come from luxury or abundance. It came from sacrifice. In 1943, nickel was urgently needed for tanks, weapons, and military equipment. So the United States changed history by altering the very soul of its 5-cent coin. That decision alone turned the 1943 Jefferson wartime nickel into a permanent symbol of crisis, courage, and change. Unlike regular nickels, the 1943 Jefferson wartime coin was struck in a unique silver-based alloy, containing silver mixed with copper and manganese. This was the only time in U.S. history that the 5-cent coin carried real silver in this way. The coin feels different, sounds different, and ages differently. When you hold one, you are not holding pocket change. You are holding a fragment of World War II itself, a silent witness to one of humanity's most dangerous chapters. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by the bold P above Monticello, played a critical role in this transformation. This mint mark was not small or hidden. It was intentionally large and proud, signaling a break from tradition. For the first time ever, a P mint mark appeared on a U.S. coin, making the 1943 P wartime Jefferson nickel historically groundbreaking even before value enters the conversation. Many people whisper legends about this coin being worth millions, capable of turning an ordinary person into a billionaire overnight. The truth is more grounded, but no less fascinating. A standard 1943 P wartime nickel in circulated condition is not worth millions, but its real power lies in rarity combinations, condition, and errors. Coins struck during wartime are produced under pressure, and pressure creates mistakes. Mistakes collectors obsess over. Some 1943 P wartime nickels exist with extraordinary mint errors. Off-metal strikes, dramatic die cracks, double dies, or planchet anomalies. These are the coins that rise far above ordinary value. When perfectly preserved and authenticated, such error coins can sell for astonishing sums, sometimes reaching tens of thousands of dollars, and in extreme museum-grade cases, even more. Not fantasy millions, but still life-changing for the right coin. What truly elevates the 1943 P wartime nickel is condition. Coins graded at the highest mint state levels become rare survivors. Most were heavily circulated during the war years, passed from hand to hand in factories, stores, and military towns. Finding one that looks untouched by time is like finding a soldier who walked through the war without a scratch. This coin also carries an emotional value that money cannot measure. It jingled in the pockets of workers building aircraft, in the hands of mothers buying ration food, and in the gloves of soldiers on leave. Every scratch tells a story. Every worn edge speaks of movement, urgency, and survival. That human history is why collectors chase it relentlessly. The silver content itself gives a coin intrinsic value, but silver alone is not what makes it special. Millions of coins contain silver. Very few carry a wartime identity so clearly stamped into their design and composition. The 1943 P. Jefferson nickel is not just silver, it is symbolism minted in metal. People often make the mistake of rushing to sell such coins cheaply, driven by rumors or half-truths. That is where fortunes are lost, not because the coin was worthless, but because patience was missing. Authentication, grading, and understanding the exact variant of your coin matter more than excitement or fear. If you ever find a 1943 P wartime Jefferson nickel, the smartest move is not to believe every viral story, but also not to dismiss it as ordinary. It deserves respect, study, and professional evaluation. Coins like this reward knowledge, not haste. The real magic of this coin is not that it promises instant billions, but that it connects the present to a moment when the world held its breath. Its value grows with time because history does not fade, it deepens. As collectors continue to honor World War II artifacts, coins like this quietly rise in importance. In the end, the 1943 Liberty Jefferson wartime nickel is a reminder that true wealth is not always loud. Sometimes it sits silently in a drawer, waiting for someone wise enough to understand what they are holding. Not a miracle lottery ticket, but a powerful, historic asset that rewards those who treat it with patience, respect, and intelligence. The Liberty Wartime Jefferson nickel from 1944 with the P mint mark is not just a small 5-cent coin. It is a survivor of chaos, pressure, and history forged during World War II when the world itself was burning. This coin was born in an era where metal was more valuable than paper promises, and every piece struck carried the weight of a nation at war, making it one of the most emotionally powerful coins ever produced in the United States. What makes the 1944 P. Jefferson nickel feel mysterious is that it does not behave like a normal coin. It carries silver in its body, a silent rebellion against the copper and nickel shortages of wartime America. This was a moment when money stopped being ordinary and started becoming strategic, and that decision alone elevated this coin into a different class of collectability that still fascinates people today. Collectors whisper about this coin because some examples appear so perfect, so untouched by time, that they feel almost unreal. These are the kinds of coins that never entered circulation, never paid for bread or fuel, and instead slept quietly for decades, waiting for the right moment to reveal their true power in the collector world. The P mint mark above Monticello is not just a letter, it is a signal. It tells a story of Philadelphia striking coins under wartime urgency, using an unusual metal mix, and leaving behind varieties that were never meant to be rare, but accidentally became legendary. When rarity meets history, value doesn't rise slowly, it explodes. There are stories of specific wartime Jefferson nickels that show striking anomalies, metal flow mysteries, and surface characteristics so unusual that experts stop and stare. These are the coins that don't follow price guides because they live outside normal rules. When a coin becomes a conversation piece among elite collectors, money stops being the limit. The idea that a 5-cent coin could transform a life overnight is not born from fantasy alone, but from moments in history when the right buyer met the right coin at the right time. In those moments, logic disappears and desire takes over, and that is where unimaginable prices are born. What gives the 1944 P. Wartime Jefferson nickel its dangerous charm is the fact that it looks ordinary to untrained eyes. It can sit in a drawer, jar, or an old collection without screaming its importance, silently holding the potential to shock its owner if examined under the right expertise. Some collectors believe that the true power of this coin lies not just in silver or condition, but in extreme perfection or extreme abnormality. Coins that break expectations, either flawless beyond belief or strangely unique, become trophies, and trophies are never cheap. This is why experienced collectors warn never to rush, never to sell quickly, and never to trust the first offer when it comes to a wartime Jefferson nickel that looks different, heavier, brighter, or sharper than it should be. The fastest way to lose a fortune is impatience disguised as excitement. The legend surrounding this coin continues to grow because every generation rediscovers it. New collectors enter the market, new wealth appears, and the hunger for historically charged artifacts intensifies. When demand grows but the supply remains frozen in time, prices don't climb, they leap. The 1944 P nickel represents something bigger than money. It represents survival, scarcity, and the unpredictable nature of value. In a world where digital numbers rise and fall in seconds, a small silver-bearing coin from wartime America feels permanent, solid, and powerful. Those who truly understand this coin know that its worth is not printed anywhere. It is negotiated behind closed doors, decided in quiet rooms, and influenced by emotion, pride, and obsession. That is why its highest values are never public knowledge. For someone holding a truly exceptional example, the coin becomes leverage, not currency. It becomes something you protect, research, and move only when the timing feels perfect. Fortunes are not always earned loudly. Sometimes they wait patiently in silence. The magic of the wartime Jefferson nickel is that it teaches a dangerous lesson. Never judge value by face, never underestimate history, and never assume small things cannot change big lives. Coins like this don't announce themselves. They reveal themselves. In the end, whether this coin makes someone wealthy overnight or simply wiser, its real power lies in awareness. The moment you understand what you're holding, you stop seeing 5 cents and start seeing possibility, history, and a doorway that only a few ever notice. The 1938 Liberty Buffalo 5-cent coin is one of those coins that feels like it should be magical the moment you hold it, heavy with history, mystery, and the echo of a fading American frontier. It was struck at the very end of the Buffalo nickel era, the final breath of a design that showed raw strength on one side and untamed wilderness on the other. Because it marks the closing chapter in an iconic series, people naturally whisper legends about its value, imagining overnight riches and life-changing fortune hidden in a tiny circle of metal. Here is where the story becomes even more fascinating than the rumors. The 1938 Buffalo nickel with the P mint mark, meaning Philadelphia, is not a silver coin at all. It is made from a copper-nickel alloy, the same sturdy mix used for most U.S. nickels of the time. Yet value in the coin world is not created by silver alone. It is created by survival, condition, demand, and emotional power a coin carries through generations. The year 1938 stands at a turning point in American coinage. This was the last year the Buffalo design was minted before it was replaced by the Jefferson nickel. That fact alone gives the 1938 Buffalo nickel a symbolic weight, like the final page of a legendary book. Collectors love endings almost as much as beginnings, because they freeze a moment forever. Millions of 1938 Buffalo nickels were produced, which means most examples are not rare in the strict numerical sense. But here's a twist that fuels all the excitement. The Buffalo nickel design wore down extremely fast. The date, the horn of the buffalo, and the details of Liberty's hair vanished quickly in circulation. Truly sharp, fully detailed coins are dramatically scarcer than the mintage numbers suggest. A 1938 P Buffalo nickel that has survived in pristine, untouched condition is no ordinary coin. When Liberty's hair strands are bold, the buffalo's horn is fully visible, and the fields shine with original luster, collectors pay serious money. These coins are not about pocket change. They are about preservation against time itself. The dream of unimaginable value comes from the idea of perfection. In the coin world, perfection is rare to the point of obsession. A flawless example, never clean, never damaged, never dulled by circulation, becomes a trophy. While such a coin will not realistically sell for millions, it can still command prices that feel shocking compared to its humble 5-cent face value. Many myths around Buffalo nickels are fueled by truly rare errors from nearby years. The famous 1937 D three-legged buffalo, for example, is genuinely valuable and has sold for huge sums in top condition. Over time, stories of that coin blurred into stories about all Buffalo nickels, including the 1938 P, creating legends of overnight billionaires. What really gives the 1938 P Buffalo nickel power is its role as a gateway coin. It is often the piece that pulls new collectors into the Buffalo series. People see it, research it, and then fall into the deeper world of varieties, mint marks, and grading. That constant demand keeps strong examples desirable year after year. Condition is everything, and this cannot be said loudly enough. A worn 1938 Buffalo nickel is worth only a small premium over face value, but a sharply struck, beautifully preserved coin can multiply in value many times over. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is microscopic, yet financially massive. Another factor is emotional value. Coins like this connect people to a time when America was reshaping itself after the Great Depression. Holding a 1938 Buffalo nickel is like holding the last echo of an era defined by resilience, grit, and hope. Collectors don't just buy metal, they buy stories. The internet is full of exaggerated claims, promising millions and instant fortune. These stories spread fast because people want to believe that treasure hides in plain sight. The truth is quieter but more powerful. Knowledge, patience, and condition are what transform a simple coin into something special. If you own a 1938 P. Buffalo nickel. The real advice is not to panic sell or believe wild promises. Look at it carefully. Respect it. Understand what you have before making any decision. A coin mishandled or clean can lose most of its value in seconds. The phrase "don't spend it at a low price" still matters, just not in the fairy tale way. Selling without understanding grading, market demand, and authenticity can cost you real money. Education is a true fortune changer here, not superstition. In the end, the 1938 Liberty Buffalo 5-cent coin does not make billionaires overnight, but it does something more enduring. It teaches that value grows where history, rarity of condition, and human fascination meet. That lesson is worth far more than hype. So when you look at a 1938 P. Buffalo nickel, don't just see 5 cents or viral rumors. See the final heartbeat of a legendary design, a survivor of time, and a reminder that real treasure isn't found in myths, but in understanding what you hold. The 1917 Liberty Buffalo 5-cent coin is one of those coins that looks quiet at first glance, almost ordinary, yet carries a weight of history that makes collectors stop, breathe, and look again. When this coin was born, the world was standing at the edge of war. America was changing fast. And the Buffalo nickel captured the raw spirit of the nation in a way no coin had done before. That alone gives the 1917 issue a magnetic pull that never fades. This coin is often surrounded by loud rumors, whispered legends, and viral claims that promise overnight riches. The truth is more interesting than the myth. The 1917 P. Buffalo nickel is not a silver coin, and it was never meant to be. It is struck in a copper-nickel alloy. But what gives it power is not metal content. It is survival, condition, and story. What makes the 1917 Philadelphia Mint coin special is that it came from a Maine mint during one of the busiest and most stressful periods in U.S. mint history. Millions were struck, yes, but very few survived the brutal reality of circulation. Buffalo nickels wore down quickly, and the date was often the first thing to disappear. A 1917 coin with a bold, readable date already steps into a higher class. Then comes the real dividing line: condition. Most 1917 Buffalo nickels you see today are tired, flattened, and silent from decades of use. But the rare survivors, the ones that never saw heavy circulation, feel almost unreal. Sharp horn, full hair detail on the Native American, strong lettering, and clean fields turn a common coin into a collector's prize. There is also quiet excitement around specific die characteristics from 1917. Subtle differences in strikes, pressure, and die were created coins that specialists hunt for years. These are not obvious errors you see in seconds. They're the kind that reward patience, magnification, and experience. That mystery is part of why collectors fall in love with this year. Some people claim that owning a 1917 Buffalo nickel will make you a billionaire overnight. That is not how real numismatics works. Real value grows through knowledge, not hype. A normal circulated 1917 P coin is affordable, but a superbly preserved example can reach into thousands, and in elite certified grades, even tens of thousands. That is still life-changing money for a 5-cent coin. Where the unimaginable worth idea truly comes alive is in once-in-a-generation condition. A top population, near-perfect specimen becomes a trophy coin. These are the coins that auction houses showcase under dramatic lighting, the ones serious collectors compete for, knowing they may never see another like it again. The Buffalo nickel design itself adds fuel to its desirability. It represents America before highways and skyscrapers, wild, proud, and untamed. Every collector knows that this design is not just art, it is identity. A strong 1917 Buffalo nickel feels like holding a piece of American soul in your palm. Another reason this coin commands respect is that Buffalo nickels are no longer being made, and the supply can only shrink. Coins are lost, damaged, cleaned, or destroyed every year. Time is quietly working in favor of well-preserved examples, pushing their value upward while demand remains strong. If someone owns a 1917 Buffalo nickel, the worst mistake is rushing to sell it cheaply without understanding what they have. Cleaning it, polishing it, or trusting unverified buyers can erase decades of value in seconds. The smartest move is patience, education, and proper authentication. True collectors don't chase miracles, they chase facts. A certified coin, properly graded, documented, and preserved, becomes an asset rather than a gamble. This is how ordinary coins turn into extraordinary holdings over time. The real power of the 1917 Buffalo nickel is not that it magically creates wealth overnight, but that it rewards respect. Respect for history, for craftsmanship, and for the slow, steady rise of collectible value. Coins like this don't scream. They whisper to those who know how to listen. So if you hold one of these coins, don't dismiss it, but don't believe fairy tales either. Let it be studied, protected, and understood. In the world of serious collectors, truth builds far more wealth than exaggeration ever could. In the end, the 1917 Liberty Buffalo 5-cent coin is a reminder that fortune doesn't always arrive in explosions. Sometimes it grows quietly, year by year, in a small, heavy coin that once passed through countless hands and survived long enough to tell its story to yours.